Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, yesterday there was that whole spectacle of masked Secret Servicemen, what else would you call DSS, at the gates of the National Assembly, and quite frankly, we didn't know what that was all about. Or perhaps I should say I didn't know, along with my guests in studio, what that was all about. On the one hand, one narrative that we heard was that, well, there was an effort to prevent entry into the National Assembly because to allow such an entry would not favor the federal government. And we couldn't make sense of that. But as you know, by later on in the day, the federal government, indeed, speaking about the vice president, the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, fired the Director General of DSS, Lawal Daura, saying that that action was totally unknown to government, and beyond that, it just went against all the norms that anybody would expect. Okay, my guests this morning to help us try and understand, if that is possible, the dynamics and the political calculus that is going on. First of all, Professor Tunde Samuel, APC chieftain, member Governing Advisory Council of Lagos State. Thank you very much for coming on, Prof.
It's my pleasure being here.
Indeed. And my friend, Dr. Chima Naji, legal practitioner and advocate of good governance. It's been a while, Chima.
Yes,
good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you back.
My pleasure,
Indeed.
pleasure.
Let me start with you, because I want a perspective, well, you see, let me also say that Chima is a professional in politics. He has experience in politics. He gave us a regaling account of his experience once, I believe it was, at the shot of governorship in his home state.
Yes.
And that was an interesting story.
Because it was not a do or die, I had to leave.
He has since returned to his chambers, continued to go from strength to strength, and I'm sure when it opens up again, if it opens up, he'll decide whether he wants to take another stab at it.
Absolutely.
So let me start with you. First of all, that spectacle of hooded security men preventing people, especially the legislators, from accessing the National Assembly yesterday, that we didn't understand. But then when later on it came through that the acting president, Vice President Osinbajo, had fired the Director General of DSS, which means that we didn't know of that and you were out of order.
Well,
what does this say to us?
Let me start by saying that the firing and the acknowledgement that that particular incident did not, accord with the thinking of the right people of this country, and that government at the highest level appeared to have subscribed to that view. Mm-hmm. But firing Daura, as symbolic as that was, should be the first step.
Okay.
Because it will be incredulous that government with all the arsenals of intelligence would not know what is happening at its backyard, given the proximity of the National Assembly to the seat of power, Aso Rock, in the three-arm zone. We do not, at this stage, want to go into antecedents, because before somebody suffers from malaria to be taken to the hospital, a lot of sequences. Malaria does not just drop. In the same manner, such things. Somebody may also have misread the body language. Because I can tell you, Yori, I need soft drinks. There is a crate of soft drink there. I am not the owner, but you dashed and got me a soft drink bottle that is chilled. Because I needed it, I would drink, thinking that you bought it, only to realize later that you stole it. I don't know whether you get the point. Then, because it is not consistent with my philosophy, I will reprimand you,
yes,
rebuke you, and punish you for stealing.
Okay.
Even though I have taken the soft drink.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chima, as usual. And I'm very, very happy that we started off with one of those. You see, we're talking about political calculus. We're also talking about, these sayings that tend to illustrate, in a very brief period,
Yes.
That which would have taken something like a page
Absolutely.
to explain. Prof, what's your take on the way the events unfolded? One, you have a security authority there, and you'd imagine with all the chains of command, the discipline and all of regimentation, that they wouldn't just arrive out of the blue. And then for the acting president, which effectively is the president speaking if he were here,
Yes.
that we didn't know anything about that. And by so saying, indicating their disapproval, and then going further to say, now you're fired. It's a sufficiently grievous matter to say you're sacked. And then there was an immediate replacement. What does all of this say vis-a-vis the other issue, which is Senate President Saraki, which I imagine a lot of people within APC would want to become former Senate President Saraki? The battle going on.
I think, first and foremost, my inkling tells me that yesterday's event was contrived. How and why, events in the next few days will unveil.
Contrived?
Yes,
So there's a mystery on our hands.
a lot. Because from, you recall earlier on, I said on this set here that President Buhari is not a lily-livered president, but a lion-hearted head of state. Yesterday's decision was a clear demonstration. I cannot see how the federal government will be part and parcel in that shameful act.
Can you also see how they would not have been part and parcel of it for an institution like the DSS
Yes.
to move into such a public, what is it called, posting?
I would not want to speak much about this issue of event being contrived. But I want us to
Bear it in mind.
leave matters to unveil itself in the
But
next
also
few days.
still bear in mind that it could possibly have been contrived.
Yes, I have a strong inkling. You see, the beauty of development so far in the last 24 hours is the temerity of the acting president to act with dispatch. That has been the beauty. It wasn't a surprise to me as a person.
Okay, and having worked with him
I've
before.
worked with Professor Yemi Osinbajo in Tinubu's cabinet. And knowing him for being ethically and morally rugged. He has demonstrated that yesterday without any doubt. He talks less. But when you are looking for somebody that is morally and ethically sound, Professor Osinbajo is one.
And I imagine a man like him will keep a very keen eye on the law in all matters that concern him.
That's for sure. However, I want to caution that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we must take developments in the political landscape with cautious optimism.
What is the objective, if I may ask, that we have to be cautiously optimistic about?
There's no problem in our being optimistic, but I want us to accept cautious optimism.
Chima,
Because the whole thing will be shrouded in the nitty-gritty of politics.
Okay. Now, the one that is not as shrouded in nitty-gritty of politics is the fact that Senator Bukola Saraki, the current Senate president, snatched his office from under the very nose of his people, his own party men. And it's no secret that he has never been forgiven. There was a time when they adopted the strategy of let sleeping dogs lie, but I think they always kept an eye out for we're going to get you attitude, a kind of an attitude. Perhaps one can understand all of that. Perhaps one can understand all of that. But the complication now that the man, the Senate president, has decamped to another party, but has also indicated that he has no interest in vacating his position that was obtained under the auspices of the party he has now departed from. We've heard the legal arguments. We've heard the examples, the precedents. But how does all of this grab you, the quagmire that we find ourselves in? And Prof has said that we need to all be cautiously optimistic. But how do you think this is going to play out?
Well, let me first and foremost react to the word contrive.
Okay.
Contrivance is a motivated act. It's not by accident. And if you use it in a pejorative sense, it means that you are making things up to look like what you want people to believe, but in the real sense, it is not. But we leave it there.
You've given us two definitions
yes,
of
just
the word
to
contrive.
enlighten our viewers.
But and there's no third one about the political definition of contrivance.
Let's leave it there because things are unfolding from what Prof says.
Yes.
We look at these things with cautious optimism.
And that there is more to come.
The optimism is that there will always be Nigeria greater than all the constituents of those who are engaged in political shenanigans to bring it down. That is the optimism. Now, coming to the question you asked, I will also be careful in allowing you ask me a question with the word snatch. As a lawyer, I am not expected to behave like a carpenter in the public domain. I need to be guided in my conduct and utterances. To use the word snatch means that you already owned this thing and somebody took it, either knowingly, especially when you are aware, and he took it from you in a manner of what can you do?
You're talking about the snatchy.
Not stealing.
You're talking about the snatchy, not the snatcher.
Yeah, well, the two come together. When a snatching takes place,
there is a snatchy and a snatcher.
The two come, one on this side, the other one on the other side. So because I want to look at the word more objectively, I would rather that he took advantage of a situation because the situation was fluid. Constitutionally, as a lawyer, it was there for anybody to take. But for political maneuvering, the majority is always able to pull through when, justifiably so, if they are on the right course of the law. The majority can do bad things, try to rationalize it, but time may make them to understand that they were wrong. But when majority is on the right course, you understand, justification becomes easy. In the circumstance that position was taken, it was voted for in accordance with the provision of both their rules and the Constitution. The Constitution says that the National Assembly should make rules. It provided for them to have a subsidiary rule pursuant to that section of the Constitution, section 50, whatever, that they should make rules for the election of their presiding officers. And it says the simple majority of members sitting should elect. It is unlike when you are removing such a principal officer, where you will need 2/3 of membership, not members sitting. 2/3 of members the membership of the, that means if there are 109, divide it by 2 times 2/3 times 109. That is simple arithmetic. So I would therefore imagine that, yes, everybody knows that the party, APC, will not be happy because it is the norm.
Yes.
Normative rules of conduct are inferior to constitutional provisions.
I hear you.
If you get my drift.
So you're trying to be
the
very
APC
careful in how we
naturally
talk about this.
should be ached that it did not go with their configuration
Yes.
about how to share power.
Because of some
at
contrivance.
that inchoative stage. Now, along the line, things it looked like if they were saying, let the sleeping dog lie.
Yes.
Then now, it's like rubbing it to the face of the party. My own caution is that you do not pursue foul with anger.
Okay, I hear you.
Otherwise, you fall epileptically.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is to look at what the law has provided and do the sophisticated maneuver. You understand? To engineer either his exit from that seat or find a way to contain him. You understand? The way the PDP contained the former speaker, who is now the governor of Sokoto State, because that which you cannot deal with confrontationally, you must find a way to contain it.
Okay.
And manage the situation.
Okay. And
so that you don't overheat the system and begin to give the impression that the other person was even right ab initio. Because when you over-worry Satan, he begins to look like a saint.
And just before we go, one very quick one.
Yes.
The word contrivance, as you sought to explain it, you could go one way or the other. There was some contrivance in the way the gentleman arrived in his office as well. I mean, what does sleeping in a car overnight in the National Assembly, is that not a part of the contrivance? Is that not a form of contrivance?
I am not privy to who sleeps there because I'm not a security guard.
No.
You understand?
This is testimony
No.
from the person that is in the public domain.
Okay.
Of how he swung it.
If he testified to that,
Yes.
because I didn't hear.
I am telling you,
understand?
it's on record.
If I take
that he
it
slept
that
in a
what you
car
are saying
in the
is
National
what
Assembly
happened,
overnight.
yes.
That was contrivance.
Yeah, he contrived it, but is it within the ambit of the rules of the game? That is the question, because if you contrive, like I said, if you contrive and you have the majority, you can justify it within the ambit of the law. But if you have the majority and you contrive outside the law, time will show that you were wrong.
Okay.
That's my point. I have absolutely no interest in anything that is happening there.
It's very important, and it's one of the reasons why we value your contribution. Prof, APC has said severally, its members, that, look, they don't feel any sense of apprehension, or they're not. People are saying APC needs to be concerned. I had a guest here yesterday, but then because he's of PDP stock, you would imagine that is what he would say. But APC itself has said that it's not unduly concerned about this matter. Indeed, with the gale of defections, it now can see a lot more clearly and is able to get on with that which it wanted to do from the very, very beginning. But I imagine that it's a complicated business. Even that, it seems logical that, okay, with all of this load removed, now we can see where the floor is, now we can sweep a lot better. But how easy is it going to be from now on, considering that you still have some cleaning up to do and it's not over till the paperwork is done? How easy is it going to be for APC to sort of, quote unquote, regain its soul and get on with that which it promised the people?
The last 2 weeks, we discussed issues that are germane to this question. And I said on set that when you have a problem, when you have a challenge, you don't allow that challenge to intimidate you. Your responsibility is to confront a challenge and tame it. And I brought out the two characterizations of leadership. The political jobbers and scavengers on one side of the divide, rational thinkers and philosopher kings on the other side. With your question now, APC is not going to worry over defections. What APC will do is how to confront the problem and tame it.
Is that in progress now?
I can assure you.
That the containerization process is actually operative as we speak?
I can tell. Before we came in on set, there were one or two issues that we discussed. As of today, even as from yesterday, 1, 2, or 3 master strokes will come up on the political landscape. And the rational thinkers within the party are back to the drawing board. I want to assure you of that. And when I talk of rational thinkers, they have different characteristics. I'm talking of people like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, living now.
That the ideas will float to the top?
Yes. They are not, these characters are not intimidated. They are trained to face challenges and tame it. That is one aspect of the issue. The other aspect is in respect of whether this thing is not going to affect us. 2 weeks ago, I said here on set that those who are defecting, like I told the nation on December 2015, immediately after the presidential election, that we are not going to have a durable political situation between 2015 and 2019. And I brought in the political calculus theory. And everything has played out.
As you...
So, as of today, the issue now is not to start crying over split milk. We are back to the drawing board. And the philosopher kings are working around the clock.
Are the numbers known? Because what I mean by that question is, as Chima said, and I think most Nigerians have come to understand, there is a difference between voting in a Senate president, for example, and impeaching him. In the case of impeachment, you require, as Chima just told us, 2/3 of all the members, whether present or not. There are lists circulating as to how many senators are on either side. First of all, what can we say about those lists, and how would they be surmounted if the lists are not what are required for a democratic pursuance of the objective?
Yeah, this problem, you will agree with me, Yori. I said earlier on that we cannot continue to keep Kanda inside rice. The defectors have remained Kanda inside rice from December 2015, and I'm repeating it. For as long as you keep it inside rice, the APC will not enjoy its tenure, and they want to mess the party up. So it's good riddance to bad rubbish. Let us sift the rice and remove the chaff and throw it away.
Is the rice, is the chaff that mixed with the rice, is it limited to NPDP that came into the APC, or indeed are there APC chaff, Kanda elements as well within?
Primarily, the migrants from the PDP are the main chaff inside the rice.
Okay.
From onset.
So it's like they came to pollute the party, by and large.
They came to pollute the party in one breath. In another breath, the ultimate for them is to snatch the soul of the party.
Okay.
Well,
Chima, please.
if I may weigh in.
Yes, please.
It's interesting to hear that Prof is talking about thinkers. It is very important, even for ordinary individuals, to once in a while refrain from the fray and take a second look. To do that means you are thinking.
Of course.
Within the process of thinking is reasoning, because even lower animals think. But reasoning is the exclusive preserve of human higher intellect. When you reason, you find accommodation for those things that you cannot change. So when Prof is talking about solving problems, it's not all problems that you solve by confrontation. If you have a very difficult boss in an ordinary organization who determines whether your family will eat or not, or whether you progress, you don't confront him when he's being hard on you. You manage your boss. Anticipate what good he expects to happen to him. Go about doing that. He begins to change his views about you. Be very good and professional on your job. He can't sack you because he needs you to keep his own job. These are intelligent ways.
But with most reasonable...
Now, politically speaking...
With most reasonable people, Chima,
yes.
Confrontation is not usually the very, very first approach. It usually is the last approach.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
I did not even mention confrontation.
Yes.
I
It
did not
is
mention
when
confrontation in my speech.
you say confronting the problem, not the challenges. I'm not saying confronting individuals.
No, not
but in this case, some of the challenges are individual. Some
because
cases.
Why I said
Now,
that, Chima, I said that, Chima, was that, as you can see, there have been studied efforts over the years to accommodate and see if things would change.
Were some of these things done right? That's why I said withdraw from the fray.
Okay.
Take a second look.
That
whether
is-
you are doing things right.
Looking at it from
He
the
talked
other
about
side as
chaffs
well.
and
Looking at it
political
from-
jobbers.
Looking at it from the chaff side as well.
There are political
So-called,
jobbers
the
who
so-called
will
chaff
sing
side.
your praises.
Yes.
But they lack content to even contribute to the progress.
Of course.
Because you have too much basin of rice. You don't know who is adding sand from one angle. Even though he has collected from that basin and put it in his own flask, good rice. So what I'm saying is, he rightly used the word, and there are so many of them in the political firmament.
Of course.
Therefore, the philosopher king he also referred to has to be somebody who is highly conceptual in his thinking.
Very, very.
Which means that his cranial cavity
Very, very.
and the architecture of his thinking
Yes.
is right for the ambience of governance. So, for him to be able to know who should contribute what, where, when, and how. And when you are dealing with an intelligent boss, you don't come messing around. But if there is any room for acquiescence, either in certain primordial cleavages,
If there can be compromises,
yes,
by all
then
means.
you, of course, human beings
By
go
all
on a
means.
lower distance. So,
But when all of those options
cut
are
the-
exhausted,
to cut the
you
road.
usually have no option but to confront.
Nothing can be exhausted.
Okay.
If you look, there's
the
nothing
effort should be
intractable
inexhaustible.
under the sun.
Okay, you know, this is so interesting, but I'm told that let us go on break so we can
Yes.
come back and continue with it.
Right.
Stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and we'll include your calls as well. The DSS boss, Daura, has been fired, and I can imagine you don't reward good service with firing, so it can only be because in the eyes of his bosses, he was guilty of misconduct. I think I can go as far as that. I mean, he was fired. So there's that to one side, Prof. The whole debacle that we have now, the big defections, I don't know. Do you think there still are some more in the offing? Because a surprise one was Akpabio, I imagine. I think that has also thrown a spanner in the whole calculus equation going on, because I don't think anybody saw that one coming. And what effect, you know, that, as I said, do you think that, are there more to come? You just look in your crystal ball, so to speak.
I refer to Akpabio's episode yesterday as a master stroke.
By who?
I see it as a master stroke.
It was a stroke that was struck. Because I wanted to see, is it master stroke by the opposition? Is it master stroke by the ruling party? Is it master stroke by Daura himself?
Well, sooner or later, we will see. The PDP itself as a party.
But sorry, sir, for interrupting. When you talk about these master strokes, a lot of us ordinary folks will be seeing it as this is just about their own individual skin. It is their own individual skin that they're worrying about, and that Prof is now glorifying by calling it a master stroke.
It's a master stroke.
Still.
If you watch the scenario yesterday at the National Assembly, Senator Maury Bruce
Yes.
was relatively not happy. He kept on mentioning Akpabio's name, that they were waiting for him. While they were still of the opinion that he's still their minority leader. Akpabio had already turned in his letter of resignation. It was on the television. Breaking news. That's a master stroke.
Okay.
From where, I will not say.
Because my producer is telling me now that the word is that anytime now, Senator Akpabio is going to make the public declaration in Uyo anytime now.
Yes.
But a master stroke because totally unexpected.
It's beyond what he did yesterday. It's not even for now. The effect is not going to be for now. It's beyond the present situation.
I see.
And the entire PDP hierarchy understands very well the implication.
Chima, what's your read of Akpabio jumping ship? I'm not going to be as egalitarian in my language. The man jumped ship. And there are those who are very, very unkindly referred to politicians jumping ship this way and that way as rats.
No. It is within their political rights and privileges if the circumstances defined by the Constitution are met. But we know that none of these crossover and movements
Based on principle.
have been so grounded in the constitutionality, you know. Yes, because some people say there's no division in certain parties. You just wanted to move, then you contrive one. Now you use the word again, contrive. You understand? Then some people say, yes, that thing that you say, contrivance, is actual division. But that is to be sorted out if anybody dares go to court to provide
And
the
I see that
evidence.
you studiously want to be watching your language so that, in fact, you don't want any opinion to come into
No,
the words
I'm
that you are
profiling
using.
my opinion. What I'm saying is my opinion, because when you have two people that are fighting on a partisan manner, the man at the center must maintain balance. And that balance must come from knowledge and character. That's what I'm trying to do here. To start with, the statement of Prof that is a master stroke is based on the fact that he thought that Ben Bruce did not know, as at the time they were at the National Assembly yesterday, that they're waiting for him to come. No. From what Ben Bruce was saying, he was even saying that he was waiting for Akpabio to lead his group of people that were going to come, or he thought were going to come to impeach the Senate president. That was the statement he was making on the
That's
television.
what you read into statement.
No,
That
it's
we're
not what I
waiting-
read.
That we're
That's what he
waiting
said.
for Akpabio.
That was what he said. He was that they
Okay,
were
come on.
waiting
I merely refer to Akpabio's case.
as the master stroke, the
No,
movement.
Akpabio's case yesterday was not the crucible for the master.
No. He said he was waiting. That's the reference you made. Because you mentioned Ben Bruce. That was what I'm saying. Ben Bruce said that they were waiting for Akpabio.
Yes.
Now, to answer the question, my reaction to the Akpabio something, it's just like Senator Bukola Saraki moving to APC. I mean, from APC or from PDP to APC and back.
to
Aminu
PDP.
Tambowa and the others. You understand? The same manner Akpabio has moved. But like I made a statement, that the conditions for these movements appear not to have been met, but can be contrived to have been met. But it is for the courts to sort out if any of the parties dare go to court. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Dare go to court. Because the court will not sit down there and say, these things were wrong. It's when you bring your matter. We'll look at the facts. So, but one thing, the caveat...
There's all sorts of contrivance going on.
One thing I want to caution is that there is a lot of misperception or perceptions in the public domain that it was an attempt for Akpabio to run away from the EFCC that made it jump ship to APC. That APC must work very hard to debunk if they can. Because the reason why I'm saying this is that APC has the ball.
Yeah, but
And if you have a player who has the ball, all the spectators are watching him with the ball, what he does with the ball. You understand what I mean? And in law, if you put your character in question, you'll be cross-examined. For example, if you have been accused that you stole, you come to court and tell the court, I'm a pastor. For 13 years, I'm a pastor. I have been dealing with God every now and then. Then some people know that there was a time you pilfered church fund.
yeah.
They'll bring it up in court.
I just wanted to note that you said that there's a misconception that
Misperception.
a misperception I beg
In
your
the
pardon.
public domain.
There is a
misperception
perception,
a
there is a
misperception
perception
in the public domain
or
misperception.
misperception, because I'm being neutral here. I'm not taking a position.
I
don't have the facts.
I didn't catch the first word,
Yes.
which is perception.
There is a perception.
Or misperception.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. Because I was going to ask how you would know that it was a misperception
No, you see, I
without
thought you
meaning
were
anything.
careful to have said that I am careful because the facts are not known now. But like Prof said, tomorrow will reveal what happened
Of course,
today.
yes.
Because nothing is hidden under the sun.
No.
Yes.
Okay, Joshua. Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, sir. How are you, Uncle
Thank you
Yori?
very much for holding on. Good morning. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate you, and I appreciate your panelists. This is wonderful. The use of words are quite awesome, and you guys are really treating us to good education this morning. I appreciate that. I appreciate Prof and his colleague. Thank you. I would just want to say that it's time for us to change the narratives of this the Maradonic game of these politicians. We always talk about who is going to gain, who is going to benefit from all these things. You know, yesterday we were talking about rape on democracy. We were talking about something, an absurd situation. And then behind the scene, some people were hailing Saraki as the number 3 man. They were rejoicing. If things were supposed to be that so bad for us as a country, what were they hailing him for? What were these people talking and shouting for? For what? Are we going to put food on our tables? Is Nigeria going to get better because one Maradona is Senate president or what? I mean, that situation yesterday was putting the nation at risk because the president is on leave, and then we have a vice president who ordinarily may not have the power to contain that situation yesterday because the political issues were very, very,
sensitive.
tough. So thank God that I mean, the president is still somebody that he could talk to. Assuming it was a situation where I think Yaradua was sick, and it was actually a doctrine of necessity that brought Jonathan later with so much problem. If we had that kind of situation yesterday, what would Prof or Shibajo do? And some people are happy and just going about as if we're having a tea party. I think these people should settle themselves, and we return back to good dialogue. We return back to talking about issues that is going to move the country forward. It is not good that we have an APC or a ruling party that is opposing itself. Nigeria cannot move forward.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Joshua, for calling in. That observation, Prof, that we just came through a very delicate period there, and that, thank God, it was handled as it was, and we sort of sidestepped a crisis and can now get on with it. Do you also see it like that? Was it what happened yesterday that was nipped in the bud? Was it that dangerous, delicate?
Well, I think the acting president recognized the immutable reality yesterday. That is either we deal with that situation with the dispatch it requires, or things may fall apart. And that was why I used the word, he demonstrated sound temerity. For having the temerity to take that decision is not an easy thing to do. But I knew yesterday he must have consulted his principal before taking that decision. So whatever people are saying in terms of the delicate nature of the thing or not,
I think that's the very point that Joshua made.
There's an element of truth
yes,
in it.
That's the very point that Joshua made, Chima, that thank God he could consult with the president, and I imagine also bearing his own personal status, one as the vice president, two as a professor of law, he would also have been an advisor,
yes,
even though the president would be the guy to issue the order in the first place. Let me see if Yemi in Lekki. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yeri.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your panelists.
Indeed.
You see, the Nigerians, they don't know whom they are playing with. Good morning, Mr. Yeri. And good morning to your panelists.
Morning.
Nigerians did not know whom they are playing with. More of this drama will still come up, just like the Prof said. Yes, he has played a lot of these dramas in Kwara, dealing with the masses. And APC government, the ruling government should be prepared to address more of these dramas to come. It is committed.
Oh, but thank God we got the essence out. Chima, that more of these high wire games, dare I use the word games, drama, if that's another word, we're just looking for, because you see, because I think it's all always, we're talking about games, we're talking about drama, all of it deriving from the contrivance, from the word contrivance that has slipped into our vocabulary on the program this morning, that more of this is going to come on. And the concern is, how distracting will it be from the real issues? Because it is not all these dramas and all these games that is the first charge of the political class. It is to deliver.
Very well. The essence of a driver, a commercial driver, shouting that there's roadblock, there is LASMA, that there is police, there's this and that, is that he wants to deliver his passengers to his destination or to their destination, having collected the fares, isn't it? So that he can turn around and he would have delivered and make more money.
Profit at the end of the day, yes.
Therefore, if that mindset is known of the driver, the policeman or any person who wants to extort money from him is playing on that psychology. And this man keeps giving money on the road until he fritters away the fares he collected or decides not to do transportation again. But the difference between the scenario I've painted with the people in power is that government is the only body that has authority over violence, carrots and sticks. Violence, organized violence to deter, carrot to cajole, or focus to deliver. All these things, the knife and the yam, in the hand of one man. Why can he be complaining of hunger? And there is stove there. The point we are making here is that it is not all problems that are contrived. And those people, like Prof. rightly said, that those people who are thinkers are now working. They need to work and be able to let the government know that it's not all problems that are contrived. Because when you misread the motive of a problem, you begin to devise solutions that will not work. Do you understand what I mean? It is a legitimate call on a parent that the children say, we are hungry. It's not to expose that the man has just been sacked and he doesn't have money to pay for the food. I don't know what that was. So if you beat them that they're complaining of hunger, they won't understand that you don't have money. So you need to explain and take them along. So when we are talking about between now and 2019, before or about within the election, the man who has ball, no matter how they love you, they will tackle you.
Because the hunger is not
They
contrived.
will tackle you.
The hunger is not contrived.
Even in the field of play, we just finished World Cup. If you hold the ball, the man on the other side is your friend, but in that field of play, he will tackle you and seek to collect the ball.
Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for holding on.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the panelists there.
Yeah, thank you.
Uncle Yori, I do not agree with the intellectual conjectures of some PDP supporters that what is happening in the National Assembly can only be done by 73 senators and so on and so forth. It's similar, the picture they are painting is similar to a thief. Maybe I'm standing by the roadside, a thief comes to snatch my phone, and the thief is waiting around. I'm seeing him with the phone, and they are saying, oh, please write a letter to appease him so that he can give you the phone back. When he was snatching the phone from me, did he write a letter to me to ask for my permission? That is what the picture that I'm getting from all these excuses. This is a man that stole the mandate of his party. A party won a presidential election, and you hijacked the legislature from the winner. And you expect him to be begging you, to be looking at you, please give it back to me. Any law that supports that lack of moral rectitude is not a law by my own reckoning. Uncle Yori, the DSS boss, we all saw what has been happening, that his loyalty is in doubt. His master, his principal, sent a name to the National Assembly for confirmation for the post of an EFCC director. And he wrote, in connivance with some corruption cabal, to twat it. Is that loyalty? There are some ministers, for example, who are doing the same thing. The president will give a directive, they will not obey it. And you are saying that they should be appeased before they are brought to book. For me, as an individual, moral rectitude will not come in the case of Saraki. Whatever is necessary to do to rescue that seat from him should be done, because we are aware that his plan and that of his gangs is to impeach the president and hijack everything between now and the end of the tenure of the president to make governance virtually impossible for him. If I were in the position of the president, I would do everything to make sure that that does not happen. That's the simple truth. All these intellectual conjectures are hidden manners of trying to support corruption and those who stand for it in this country.
All right, then. Thank you, Mr. George. Your bottom line there, unfortunately, very, very harsh. But let me ask you, let me ask you, Prof. It is well known, even the lawyers themselves told it to us, that the law can be an ass at times, but it still is the law. And I imagine there's an aspect of that in what Chima was talking about when he made the very commonsensical, when you connived and were going about all the maneuvers to, what was the word Chima used? I used the word snatch, but he used some other word, a harsher word. Nobody said anything at that time, or at least what was said. But now we are looking at propriety and due process and law and rule of law and all of that. I don't know. It's a difficult. It's something of a difficult conversation, isn't it? They want me to take Femi from Ogba before you come in. Good morning, Femi.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller. I'm very glad to get with you.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on.
Yes, good morning to the gentlemen in the studio.
Sure.
Good morning.
Yes, first, I would like to talk about the National Assembly blockage. And I feel it's unfair that people are now saying that this was stage-managed by the Senate President. Because if you follow the sequence of events today, immediately...
Wait, Femi, who has said that one? Who said that one? That it was stage-managed by...
From insinuation like Prof has been talking about the master stroke, about the... Hello?
All right, I just wanted to be sure of what you meant.
You know, these are body language for what Prof has been saying. That it's a master stroke, that it will not go into details, and we are all aware that as at when this happened yesterday, there was no single condemnation from any APC governor. There was no single condemnation from any APC chairman until the DG of DSM was sacked yesterday. In fact, if you follow most of the aides of the APC on social media, they were actually even saying that the Senate President does not have monopoly of power. Now, I feel this is just we should separate the two issues. We need to respect the institution of the National Assembly. Now, we need to give kudos to the Vice President for his timely intervention. But I dare say that this same DG of DSS that has suddenly now being termed the mole by sir, is the same DG, the same APC people have lauded when he has imprisoned a journalist for 2 years without trial. We have people he has disobeyed court orders. Now, he was not, by that time, he was not any of them. So I think it's fair when something does not favor us, we quickly move. Now, note that
right then.
the statement of APC came at the end.
Okay. I think okay. I don't know. You got the input. Let me return to you, Prof. If you want to include anything that he said by way of comment.
I can't remember when I mentioned Saraki's name. In the episode yesterday, he said he was reading my body language.
Okay.
I just want to sound a cautionary note. The law of semantic empiricism in scientific research says what cannot be seen must not be said either. You don't bring body language now. The verifiability theory of meaning says you only say what it is verifiable. Anything that is not verifiable, you don't say it.
Well, it is in the social media. You understand? You know, it's replete.
Okay.
Because social media is a faceless domain. What I expect is that at a time like this, the Minister of Information, because even some people in the social media were saying that the Daura that was sacked by the acting president said he wasn't leaving because it was not from the president himself. It's there in the social media.
Yes.
And do you know the implication?
Yeah.
That some people will say, okay, So this man has the power because as of today, the de facto president of Nigeria, commander-in-chief, is Professor Yemi Osinbajo.
Shibajo.
You understand? Until the president comes back and he hands back. If you give me a piece of meat to hold in my mouth, I must be drawing small water to know whether there's salt in it before you collect it back.
And you don't like parables.
As for, no, in fact, I enjoy the parables, and I think that is a fitting one at which to leave it. But you know what? Since I also have to sort to try and decode and deconstruct the parable, I think the best thing to do is to get Lai Mohammed in here. You know,
Yes.
let him come in here
You
and
explain
tell
the
us
situation, whether this is the position, what is the position of the government?
We're going to get on that.
Is the man sacked and sacked? Or is anybody challenging the authority of the acting president
There you go.
to do that which is in national interest?
I can promise you we're going to get on it, and usually Alhaji Lai, you know, he cooperates as much as possible.
He should.
He should.
You should even issue a statement before coming here. That is information management,
There
because
you go.
when you have space, it must be filled.
I gotta go.
Whether you do it or
Indeed.
by somebody else.
But I want to thank you very much, Dr. Chima Naji, legal practitioner and advocate of good governance. Thank you very, very much for coming on and indeed sharing your perspectives and your parables.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Professor Tunde Samuel, APC chiefess and member Governor Advisory Council of Lagos State. Thank you also for your cryptic at times, presentation, where we have to read between the lines. Thank you both, gentlemen. We're delighted to have had you. Please join us tomorrow, fresh edition. I'll be here, God willing. Bye-bye for now.